The speaking out movement that happened in 2020 rocked the wrestling world and had a profound and far-reaching impact in the wrestling industry. The speaking out movement was a social movement against emotional and physical abuse as well as SA in the professional wrestling industry, where people publicized the allegations of misconduct committed by powerful and prominent members of the wrestling industry. It was similar to other empowerment movements based upon breaking silence, such as the Me Too movement. Many wrestlers were cancelled and even fired from their jobs as a result of this movement, and a lot of fans hate them to this day for what they were accused of. The speaking out movement shook the wrestling world up, and today we're going to look at all the accusations lobbied against wrestlers. There were over 50 names that were accused of misconduct, so we can't go through every single one of these names, so we'll only cover the bigger names that are more commonly known. Disclaimer: this video will have sensitive content, and this video is not endorsing any of these wrestlers, and it's not picking any sides with regards to the allegations. It's up to you, the viewer, to decide who is guilty or innocent. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. The speaking out movement began organically in June of 2020 when independent wrestler David Starr was accused of SA by a former girlfriend of his. Starr denied these allegations, but it didn't matter because several wrestling promotions stripped Starr of his titles and fired him. In the following days after he was accused, the speaking out movement began to gain traction as numerous people inside and outside the wrestling industry accused several wrestlers, promoters, personalities, and journalists of misconduct. The hashtag speaking out began to spread on social media, where people told their stories, and it trended on Twitter for several days and weeks. To be on Twitter at this time, it seemed like there was a new story every single hour of a wrestler doing something heinous. Let's start with the WWE Accusations. Where else can we start beside perhaps the most notable person accused in this movement, a man who could have been one of the faces of WWE today, the Velveteen Dream. I made a 20-minute video addressing all the accusations lobbied against him, so I won't go into every detail on this video, but you should definitely check that video out if you haven't. Velveteen Dream was basically accused by several male minors for having inappropriate communications with them and trying to groom them. He sent one male minor a picture of his genitals and pressured these boys to expose their body to him. WWE looked into all of these accusations, but they didn't find anything wrong with what he did because all the boys he was talking to were 16 or 17 at the time, and it is legal in Florida for someone who is under 23, like Velveteen Dream, when you're talking to them, to engage in sexual relations with someone who is 16 or 17. Weird, I know. But because of this, he was allowed back on TV. Fans didn't like this, and the Fire Velveteen Dream hashtag was created. He was eventually released from WWE and still screams his innocence till this day. He has since been arrested several times for drug possession and assault. He's clearly slipping down the wrong path. It's such a shame because he had so much potential to be something truly special. The second wrestler from WWE who was accused was Matt Riddle. Again, I already made an in-depth video covering the accusations brought forth against him, so I won't get too deep into it. But basically, Riddle was accused by female wrestler Candy Cartwright of him forcing her to perform oral on him in 2018. He obviously denied these allegations and said that he had an affair with the accuser, and she's just angry that he broke up with her, so she's making accusations up just to destroy him. Riddle eventually filed a restraining order against the accuser and filed a civil lawsuit against her too. In response to this, she filed a counter lawsuit to him and WWE. This all just kind of fizzled out because both parties ended up dropping their lawsuits against each other. Riddle is still with WWE, and since then he has won the United States Championship and the tag team titles with Randy Orton. The next big name accused from WWE is Austin Theory. A female fan alleged that Theory added her to his Snapchat when she was 13 years old and messaged her very gross sexual things. She had no proof of these Snapchat messages, as she said that he made her stop saving them so that their messages could remain a secret. Theory did not address these allegations and instead blocked her. As a result of this, Theory was off TV for a few months to cool the heat, but he eventually returned and has had a pretty successful WWE career since then, as when Vince McMahon was in charge, he took a personal liking to him and pushed him after this incident. Since then, he has won Money in the Bank and at the time of the recording of this video, is currently the United States Champion. The next WWE allegation was Gentleman Jack Gallagher, in which a woman accused him of SA at a New Year's Eve party in 2014. She said that he allegedly barged into a bathroom stall in which she was peeing, and he tried to have intercourse with her, with her skirt even being ripped. She allegedly managed to escape before anything happened and left the bathroom. Gallagher replied and said that he was incredibly drunk to the point that he could not recall the incident. Literally just a few days after this allegation was publicized, he was released from WWE. The next wrestler whose name was brought up in the speaking out movement was Sammy Guevara. But instead of any woman accusing him of anything heinous, it was actually something that he said that caused his name to pop up in this movement. An audio from a podcast went viral where Sammy Guevara joked that he wanted to grape WWE Women's wrestler Sasha Banks. AEW subsequently suspended Guevara without pay, with him agreeing to go to extensive sensitivity training. It was also announced that Guevara's salary would be donated to the Women's Charity Center of Jacksonville, Florida. Later that day, Banks stated that she and Guevara had been in contact with each other and that he had apologized to her, and that they had engaged in an open discussion to help him understand the severity of his comments. He completed his training and returned eventually, and has since gone on to win the AEW TNT Championship 3 times and is a prominent figure on AEW television to this day. The next AEW wrestler to be accused is Darby Allin, and he was accused of emotional and mental abuse as well as SA by an independent women's wrestler called Holly Crowell. She claimed he would always emotionally manipulate her and threaten to leave her if she doesn't do what he says. She claimed that he constantly told her that if she did not have sex with him, then he would leave her. She said that this does not count as consent, and in her view, he raped her. Darby Allin did not respond to these accusations, but his now ex-wife Priscilla Kelly, now known as Gigi Dolan in WWE, hopped to his defense by DMing this girl, saying that she should take down the post because she was the one who was constantly begging Darby to get back together despite their multiple breakups. She reiterated that Darby is not like that with her and that he is not a rapist. Darby Allin was off TV for about a month due to this allegation to let the heat cool off, but he eventually returned, and since then he has won the TNT Championship twice and has the record for the longest ever reign with that belt. The next AEW wrestler accused was Jimmy Havoc, and he was accused of some pretty heinous things. His ex-girlfriend accused him of mentally and verbally abusing her over the years, even claiming that he would threaten to take his own life or engage in self-harm actions if she tried to leave him. She also said that he was a raging alcoholic. She also shared an accusation by an anonymous woman who said that she had been raped by Havoc. AEW announced shortly after this that they were sending Havoc to rehab to overcome the mental health and substance abuse challenges in his life. After he got out of rehab, he was released from AEW and now has retired permanently from professional wrestling. He has since been pictured in his new job as a delivery driver in the UK. New Japan wrestler Will Ospreay was also accused of something during the Speaking Out movement. He was accused by indie women's wrestler Pollyanna. Will used to tag with a wrestler called Scott Wainwright on the Independents, and this person, Scott Wainwright, allegedly SA'd Pollyanna in 2017. Will Ospreay came to his defense on Twitter saying that his friend wouldn't do such a thing. Pollyanna accused Ospreay of being a grape apologist as well as blackballing her in the UK independent wrestling scene, meaning he allegedly would be in promoters' ears telling them not to book her, which led to her retirement. Will Ospreay denied these allegations, but a UK promotion called International Wrestling League supported Pollyanna's claims and said that he did in fact blackball her. Then just a few months later, this same promotion retracted the statement and said that he did not blackball Pollyanna. Confusing, I know. But he has since gone on to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship and is at the top of the card in New Japan. The next wrestler is one of the most notable names from Impact Wrestling and the Independents, Joey Ryan. I actually made an in-depth video explaining all the accusations lobbied towards him, so check that out if you haven't. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but basically Joey Ryan had 17 different allegations toward him from several different women accusing him of SA and harassment. Because of this, Impact fired him. After these allegations came out, he posted an hour-long explanation of these accusations, and he denied almost every single accusation toward him. He went on to file multi-million-dollar lawsuits against several of these women, and he actually won one of these lawsuits, but the others were dismissed or dropped. Because of these allegations, his reputation was soiled and he had to close his promotion, Bálor Wrestling, and no one wanted to book him anymore, so he retired permanently from professional wrestling. He actually got a job at Disneyland, but was fired because fans told Disney about his past. Another Impact wrestler, Michael Elgin, was also accused of something heinous. He was accused by a woman of an incident in 2011 where he allegedly pressured her for sex in a hotel room and she refused to do so. He denied all of these claims. He was also accused of sending an unsolicited picture of his genitals to a woman as well. He admitted to this, but he said that it was a result of a drunken dare by his friends and he apologized to the woman for it personally. Impact Wrestling released him after these accusations came out. He then got arrested in Canada for violating a protection order filed by his ex-fiancée. After that, he went on to wrestle in Japan for Pro Wrestling Noah, but got into legal trouble for stealing protein shake from a store. This led to Noah firing him. He is currently out of work because no one will book him. Marty Scurll is the next wrestler on this list. He was a significant figure because he was a big part of the elite. He was accused of taking advantage of a 16-year-old girl who was drunk. The event took place at an after-party for an indie show where the girl was drinking despite her being underage. Skull allegedly took her back to his hotel, where he allegedly forced her to perform oral on him, and he tried to have sex with her, but she denied this. Skull would release 2 statements in which he did not deny the allegations, but claimed that the encounter was consensual, and he reiterated that what he did was not illegal, considering that the age of consent in the UK is 16 years old. Ring of Honor then announced that they would look into the allegations. A few months after this, Skull voluntarily left Ring of Honor, terminating his lucrative 6-figure contract with the company. No US promotions want to book Skull, so he mainly wrestles in Puerto Rico now and has slipped into obscurity. The next person from Ring of Honor to get accused was Jay Lethal. A women's wrestler called Kaylee Klein said that there were multiple women in Ring of Honor who brought forward complaints and evidence of SA by Jay Lethal in ROH, but ROH always covered it up. Lethal of course denied all these allegations toward him, and since then he has signed for AEW and has been wrestling frequently for that company. The next accusation was for Jordan Devlin, who was performing for NXT UK. He was accused by his ex-girlfriend of physical abuse, and she uploaded the bruises on her body from these alleged assaults. Devlin denied these allegations, but was suspended by WWE nonetheless. He's still signed to WWE now and is performing on Raw and has been rebranded as JD McDonough. Another wrestler from NXT UK, Joe Coffey, was accused by a woman that he harassed her, sent unsolicited naked photos and voice messages, and also stalked her. He was suspended by WWE because of these allegations, but he returned a few months later and is currently wrestling for the American version of NXT. Another person wrestling for NXT UK, Travis Banks, was accused of emotional abuse by former student Millie McKenzie, who had a relationship with Banks while age 17. The accuser also stated that Banks has had similar relationships with other trainees. Banks responded to these allegations via a statement denying everything. Banks would later be released by Progress Wrestling and WWE following these allegations. Ligero is another NXT UK talent who was accused of indecent assault, sending inappropriate messages, and engaging in inappropriate conduct with multiple women. While he denied the indecent assault allegation, he admitted that he did send inappropriate messages and engage in inappropriate conduct. Ligero would be released by Progress Wrestling and WWE following these allegations. There were many other accusations against independent UK talent too, so much so that the UK government even got involved and launched a formal all-party parliamentary group inquiry into the UK wrestling scene. There's many other independent wrestlers in the UK and US who got called out, but I won't mention them because they aren't very well known. So the last person that we'll look at is Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette was accused by indie wrestler Phil Early that he made talent from Ohio Valley Wrestling, when it was still a WWE developmental territory, perform sexual acts on his wife, and threatening to jeopardize their careers if they declined this. Jim Cornette was basically accused of being a massive cuckold and using the wrestlers from OVW to screw his wife so he could watch. Cornette obviously denied these allegations and stated that the accusations made toward him were outrageous. Nowadays, he still continues as his usual self on Jim Cornette Drive and more. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, please check out other videos, and also please like, share, comment, and subscribe. But anyway, goodbye.